Hello to you once again. The Italian chess master Alessandro Salvio published in 1604 a volume entitled Treatise on the Invention and Liberal Art of Chess. And in that he gave some interesting ideas, not only full games but some chess problems. This, as he described, is the situation in one of them, and it is white to checkmate in a maximum of 9 moves. Now he gives a clue here that white must sacrifice his pawn down here in order to achieve the win. So moving the king is no good. That's an idea to play around with yourselves. I have put it to the test and I've compared it to the analysis given by Salvio, and moving the king on the first move doesn't work. So you have no option but to push this pawn on and give check. Now, in this position, black has 3 choices. He can either take the pawn with his bishop here, and we'll consider that as the first variation, and then in variation 2, we'll look at king h7. We won't even consider king g8 because he would lose in fairly short order. Check that one out for yourselves. So let's take a look at bishop takes g7. What is the story in this position? Just take a good look at it. What does white do here? Well, he does exactly what he would have done had black played king g8. So there's a clue if you want to test that king g8 line for yourselves. So what does black do here? As can be seen, white is threatening to checkmate white, interposes check on f8, mate. So what does he do here? If he tries this, bishop e5, just note that rook e7, and then there is just no defense, because you notice that white has not only attacked the bishop, the king cannot be checked, he's on the wrong color square, and the back rank square for the rook is a light square, not a dark square. So the bishop really is helpless. He would not be able to come to black's defense whatsoever in that position. So that doesn't work. So what he tries is bishop to here, but that's equally useless. What happens then? Well, clearly, what I said earlier, rook down here, and white is threatening to take that bishop with checkmate. So since the bishop is pinned, he has to play king g8. What now? Well, simply rook to any of these squares, plonk it on whichever one you want. You're just playing for time. He has to go back into the corner, and then just take a look at that. That is checkmate. So that is the solution where he takes the pawn off. So that is the starting position. We play g7 check. He comes here. What do we do in that position? Just take a good look at it. How do we make progress here? Well, this is a most amazing move here, rook b1. And what we're doing is we're abandoning that pawn down there because we're attacking his bishop. So what does black do here? Well, if he takes the pawn, let's just have a look at that, like this. If he takes it with his king, the bishop falls, and it's a king and a rook against a king, and that's an easy win. So how do we deal with this? What do we play here? Playing rook to the 7th wouldn't work because he now has king h6. So what you do in that position is you play to there and you put him in check. Just take a little look at that. This is after bishop takes g7, rook h1. Now, should he play here, then it's game over because he has to relinquish his protection of that bishop and it's mate in short order. Should he play here, king g8, then we play king to g6. It's as simple as that. And really, he's no way out, because if he tries something like this, you play rook f1. He can't abandon his bishop, so he has to go back. And then we play rook c1. And if you look at that position, there is no defense. You're running into a similar scenario to the one that we saw earlier on, where no matter where he goes with that bishop, we're going to get onto the back rank and he will be checkmated in fairly short order. Because this rook is going to land on a light square, there's just no defense for it. Just to prove the point, this is what happened before. And in fact, king h8, rook takes f8 is mate, so none of that is any good at all. So let's put all of this back for a moment. Again, that is the starting position. We play g7, he plays king h7, and we play rook b1. So we've tried taking the pawn with the bishop, and we agree it's not much good. So let's try to here. What is the idea of this? Well, the idea, of course, is to save the bishop and also to protect g1 to stop the white rook backing up his pawn. And then the next move, of course, will be g8 equals queen. So he doesn't want that. So what does black do there? Just take a look at that. Can you see how he plays it? What does white do, I should say? How does he play it? This is after g7 check, king h7, rook b1, hitting the bishop, bishop d4, stopping white's rook going to g1. Well, what he does is he plays here, and he's determined to get across there either to g4 or to h4. Now, should black take the pawn, bishop takes g7, then we have a very similar line that we've already seen, rook across, putting him in check, and he's quickly mated on the back rank. So what can he do instead of bishop g7? Well, he plays here. He's wanting to stop rook h4. So what does white do? Well, he plays, like I suggested, getting behind the pawn, and if you notice, white is now threatening g8 equals queen, and it's quickly checkmate. So what can he do there? Well, he has to move his king, doesn't he? Quite simply. It's a forced move. King g8. And then we have king g6, and just take a look at that. So what does he do? Black has one last stab at securing a draw here. Can you see how he does it? Well, he plays this neat move. You have to have the utmost admiration for black there, because if you were silly to take that off, stalemate. So you don't touch it. What do you play instead? Just take a good look. We'll home in on it. There's nothing else on the board. Just take a look at that. Well, what you play is one move short. Rook e4, and you're threatening to checkmate him down there on e8. So what does black do? Well, he now has no option but to take this pawn off. Like that. So what do? Well, this is very reminiscent of the first variation, isn't it? And he now has to interpose. And you can take your pick, like we did before, of these squares. Just go here. He goes here. Game well and truly over. That is a neat composition on the part of Alessandro Salvio from 420 years ago. Isn't that magnificent? I hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye for now.